you can't believe it. It's and it is quite an emotional thing to actually realize that I'm happy and I'm not worrying about things. It's just quite different to anything that I've kind of had before. I've not had this kind of peace before. I was in a bit of a mess actually at the time. Or I thought I was. I'd been working for the NHS for about 14 years, and then the last 10 years of that, I was in the emergency operating theatres. And I was getting to a point where I wasn't really coping with it anymore. I had no evening time. So going backwards and forwards for 10 years of nights, days, that was exhausting. It's obviously a high pressured environment being in the emergency theatres, and it was all just taking its toll on me. And I just felt like I had no way out. I think because I've been doing it for a long time, I felt like it was the only thing I could do. I didn't see myself as having any directly transferable skills at the time. So I thought, well, it's kind of this or nothing. And on top of that, obviously, financially, NHS pay isn't great. It's just me. There's no husband or anything. So it's not as if I had any backup financially to be able to kind of change my mind a little bit about things. So there's a lot going on where I was thinking about all these things and what can I change, but feeling like I really was stuck and I couldn't change anything. And then on top of that, I had no confidence whatsoever for doing anything else. I was just terrified of everything. I was like anxious. I had a brain that just would not shut up. I overthought everything. I made up stories in my head about what's going to go wrong with everything. So I just ended up not moving, not doing anything because I was too scared to. I was too scared to try anything in case I failed at it. I already felt stuck in a rut. And then I thought if I tried to do something and it failed, surely that hole would just feel so much bigger.
And I think so many people can probably identify with just that sense of being kind of trapped or stuck and not seeing that they've got something to offer other employers or other people or other in other roles and that sort of thing. So then what happened?
So, well, it was before even I started the course when I spoke to you actually, and you told me I have every reason to be hopeful, and it made sense because you didn't let me get away with all the excuses. You just asked me questions about what was going on, and I guess through answering them, I realised that maybe I was being a little bit silly here, and maybe I could kind of change things a little bit more than I thought I could. This possibility of a new job, basically something had changed a little bit in my head that made me think, oh, stuff it, just give them your CV. Like they're never going to pick it up, they're never going to look at it, but at least you sent it off, you know. And then these guys, they looked at my CV and they said, can we do a telephone interview? And I was shitting myself, excuse my language, but I was terrified and thought, well, I'll never get through that bit. But, you know, maybe it's a little bit of practice. And then that seemed to go okay. And they asked me for a face to face interview. And that was when I panicked massively because they wanted me to do an hour's worth of presentations, which is just my worst nightmare. And then another hour's worth of interview on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then I spoke to you and we had a little chat about it. And I just remember some of the advice you gave me about not worrying about me while I'm sat there being interviewed. Worry about them, like just focus on them, and then all those little stories in my head. You know, if I'm focusing on them, I can't be making up stories in my head. So yeah, and I went into that interview and I did a bloody good job, and I came out of it thinking, how the hell did that even happen? I expected to walk out of it just in tears, to be honest. And I came out of it and thought, that went all right. I probably still won't get the job, but you know, that went all right. And then through the kind of confidence of doing all right in the interview, and then the backup of the course and the information in the course, and as well the people on the course that are just so supportive. It all just started to fall into place a little bit. And initially, I didn't get the job. I didn't get it straight away. I got it a few months later. They'd phoned me and they'd said, "Look, we've given it to someone else, but on this occasion, they were just slightly better. But we do want to offer you a job as well. It just can't be yet." And I just thought, oh, yeah, that's not going to happen. But just that didn't even seem to matter that much at the time, because I'd done the interview, I'd done the presentation, I'd proven to myself what I was capable of. That just started to make me realize that there was a way out, that I can do something else, that I don't have to have all this silly thinking in my head about everything's going to go wrong, because sometimes it doesn't, and well, I've not really looked back from there. I'm now in the job. I'm happier than I thought I would be. I get to sleep at night. I'm meeting new people. I have my weekends free. I've got a social life. So many people have already said to me, you don't look crumpled with stress anymore. You don't look exhausted. You just straight away, you look more relaxed. And I know I'm more relaxed because my brain's not doing that constant whirring. I'm now teaching people how to use patient monitoring and life support equipment. So my job, as much as the thought of presenting things to people was absolutely terrifying and my worst nightmare, my whole job is now going to be standing in front of people and teaching them things. I still can't really believe that, but I'm not worrying about it. I'm just, I'll go and do my thing and see what happens. And if something doesn't go quite to plan, well, it doesn't go quite to plan. I'm just not having that panicky thinking anymore. In all honesty, I can't believe I'm not having that panicky thinking anymore, because I've had it for as long as I can remember.
Well, and it's why that's where we start on all the programs. We start by helping people get their head straight, because once you're seeing clearly, everything becomes so much easier.
Yeah.
If I'd have said to you when we first talked about you doing the program and that sort of thing, if I'd have said, well, Emily, 5 months from now or 4 months from now, you're going to be standing up in front of groups of people, training them in how to use medical equipment and doing presentations, and that's going to be how you make your living, what would you have said to that?
I would have thought you were completely crazy. I would have thought, you've got so much hope for me, but you're so wrong. It's not worth having this hope in me, because it's just not going to happen. I couldn't even contemplate kind of that interview. There's no way I would have even done that interview, the start of the year or, any time before that. And at the same time, trying not to admit you're scared, because I've never really let on to anybody, how my anxiety has got to me. People don't know I'm anxious because I'm confident on the outside, whereas I'm really not confident, or I really wasn't confident.
It's so funny. By the time they find out that you're anxious, you won't be anxious anymore.
I know. Yeah. I think I was scared of being scared a lot of the time. And I'm just not, I don't know. Now I've kind of forgotten that thing exists, and I'm just getting on with life. So it's all good.
I know for you, and for a lot of people actually, investing in something like this and investing in yourself is kind of a big deal. And for a lot of people, it's the first time they've done anything like that, being faced with, so you're in a position where you didn't actually believe in yourself, didn't actually believe it was possible. I was saying, yeah, you got reason to be hopeful. It's going to work out great. What did you go through as you considered investing in yourself in this way?
Guilt is the first thing that comes to mind. I kind of have always felt a little bit guilty doing anything for me. And, people say to you, but if you don't look after yourself, how can you look after anyone else, and all of that? And it makes sense. So doing anything for me, spending money on me, spending time on me, it was all a bit of an alien concept. But at some point the thought arose that, Emily, if you don't look after yourself, no one else is going to. If you don't change your life, no one's going to change it for you. There's not going to be a knock on the door one day saying you've won millions of pounds, or, you need to take hold of this, and it's not something you should feel guilty about. It's something that everybody should be doing, and it's a valid thing to do. And I did take a bit of talking into the course, didn't I? Like, I think I thought I was going to fail at that as well. And I thought I was going to be the different one. And I thought that everybody else would know much more about what they wanted to do than me, and that nobody else would be as lacking in self-confidence as me. Something just said, Emily, this is perfect. You've been thinking this year that you need to take control, and here's your opportunity. Just do it. Don't be sat here in a year's time thinking, God, I wish I did that course with Jamie, because maybe life would be different now. So I just took the chance. And then I realized that pretty much everyone else was in the same boat as me.
It's such an important thing, Emily. I think so many people think, oh, I'm different. I'm going to be the odd one out, that sort of thing. And then you get with other people and you realize the things that you're most afraid of anyone else knowing about you. Oh, everyone else has got that too, huh?
Yeah. And I think then as well, just one person having a little kind of glimpse of what could be then helps trigger it in the other people as well. I think just seeing someone else do it as well alongside you just makes you think this really isn't just some fantasy. This could really happen, and it is happening for people, and there's no reason why I shouldn't be hopeful about it.
If someone's listening to this and thinking, well, what if it doesn't work for me? What message would you have for someone who's in the same kind of position you were in? You're working, 60-hour weeks and stressed out of your mind and exhausted and feeling trapped.
Well, first of all, you're not that different. And like you said, you'd be amazed at how many people are looking at other people and going, I wish I was like that. And we're all the same, really. And we all have our doubts and we all have our fears. And our fears might be different from one person to the next, but we've all got them. And no matter how good we get at something, we're all still going to have our panicky moments and our stress. But the big thing with me is I just did something. I made a little move to do something. And that move has triggered so many things. You can't plan every moment of your life, but just from doing that little thing, I'm now not scared of things not working out the way I thought they would. Even if the first thing that you attempt doesn't work out, it's going to give you that bit of confidence, or it's going to give you a new idea, and I just think, just try it. Just try doing something. I wasn't entirely convinced about the course, and I just tried it. And it's worked wonders for me. I wasn't entirely convinced about sending off my CV, but I just tried it. And I honestly can't tell you how the difference in my happiness now. And I've had tears over it. Like tears with the stress and stuff before, and I wasn't really a tearful person, but tears since, when I've realized things are working. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But it's when you go from that to this and you actually register that, you can't believe it. And it is quite an emotional thing to actually realize that I'm happy and I'm not worrying about things. It's just quite different to anything that I've kind of had before. I've not had this kind of peace before. I just hope that nobody else sits there thinking, I can't change things. And, then I did it year after year. And then the next year I'm thinking, oh, if only I changed something last year, maybe it wouldn't be like this now. So just to get to the year when you actually change something and then realize how quickly that can snowball into a whole different life. And you can actually sleep at night and see your friends and have some money to spare and enjoy things and not panic about everything that's just amazing.